Bang, you're on.
Hello, folks.
Hello.
For you 10 to 15 people listening, hello, welcome. It's our weekly select board meeting. As usual, we'll start off with our town clerk report.
Okay. I don't have a lot to report. We've been working hard on Trio, trying to finalize that. So it's taking up quite a bit of time. I did have a question on M&T Bank. I met with Ann last week again, and I asked her about the sweep accounts. And what she recommended, she talked to the corporate guy, and they would like to come out Tuesday, April 25th, and talk at 2 o'clock and maybe have a selectman involved as well, or the whole board. She just wants to, they want to go over sweep accounts. She doesn't think it makes sense, but she wants to hear your concerns and didn't know if that would be
She doesn't think it makes sense to break up the money into different accounts for different banks.
They have different options, and they're gonna lay it all out.
Okay.
So I would be involved, but if one selectman can come, or
Ed and I should be here.
everybody.
Yeah.
She'd like to do it during the selectman's workshop. I told her when you had a workshop, so
Yeah.
2
I mean,
p.m.
Jesse's building the world over there.
Yeah.
If it's 2, I probably won't make it, but
Okay.
that's all right. I trust whatever they.
Okay. Just to go over everything.
Yeah,
So
no, that
everybody
sounds good.
more ears
I would
better.
say we probably want to limit it, because knowing them, they're going to be salespeople, and, you know, say maybe half an hour
Okay.
at the most.
Okay. I will let her know on the when I have to touch base with her again. She's still working on the credit card application. Now she's on vacation, so it'll be next week before I hear anything.
Okay.
So that's just about it. I did have a question. What's going on with the audit report? Have we heard? Like, is it just
I don't know.
stagnant, or what is going on?
Right now, they're not progressing on them because they're doing taxes. I'm very frustrated with that whole situation. I mean, we're 3 years behind. So, I don't know.
Okay.
After the end of the tax season, which is coming up quickly here,
Yep.
maybe we can move things along.
Because as we're going through the Trio, you know, I'll talk to the Trio and they'll say, well, you can do it this way, but it'd be nice to talk to your auditors and see how they recommend you managing it or whatever. And I did shoot an email to him and just said, hey, I'm the new town clerk. I got, you know, a couple questions, and I didn't hear anything back. And I didn't want to bug him either. So like you said, it's tax season. But I was just kind of curious, like, it's kind of odd.
Is there such a thing? It seems like that's been the trend since I've been here. Is they're always
Late.
late? Is there such a thing as maybe looking for different ones?
No, what happened, Jesse, is there was some things that needed to be looked at in the tax receivables. It would go into Trio, but it would not go into QuickBooks. And we couldn't balance, so twice, I think it was, we paid extra money to have the auditors go through and look at it and correct it. So I think we should be getting to the point where it's been done, so it's starting moving faster.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jesse. If it doesn't start moving faster, then we need to look for somebody else, I think. At least get some bids. I mean...
I'd like to have them finish what we have in QuickBooks, then go to a new auditor.
Yeah, as long as that's not 17 years from now.
Well, I won't be here then anyway, so.
We just had one every year for Baldwin.
Well,
Yeah, that's right.
by law, we have to.
I just didn't understand why it was.
By law, we have to.
Okay, just check.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that's what I was thinking. Is
Yeah.
we're 3 years behind, so we can't even get that one. Then we got 2 more to go
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe is that? I don't know how all that works. Can you hire someone to do the year after?
No,
It'll
because they
do 'em in
build
line?
on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
little knowledge I have, I assume, but I wasn't
Yeah.
sure.
No,
Okay.
point understood and
Okay,
taken.
no,
Yeah.
just wanted to ask for that, so.
Yeah.
And we received over $4,000 in taxes for 2022, and 93.7 has been collected.
Great.
Yay.
Yay.
I saw that our quitclaim deed was filed with the registry for the one property that we foreclosed on, so that's good.
We did do a lien release this week, so it's getting better all the time.
It always gets better until it gets worse.
You can help us out. We just finished up the snow plowing revision changes, taking all the input that you guys gave us last week.
Okay.
Gabby's gonna be doing the basic contract, making the changes tomorrow morning.
Okay.
If you could do like the attachments, it's like 4 attachments.
Okay.
Actually, Ed, I was planning on coming in. I'll do the attachments.
Well,
She's got a ton of stuff on her platter, and it's not her job.
I didn't say it was her job.
But she's got a ton of stuff on her platter. She's nice enough, she'll say yes.
Okay.
Ed's just searching for nice people these days.
Yeah.
He's trusted.
Yeah. No, I will come in and do the attachments.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for agreeing to not having to do it. So that's it?
Simple, yep.
Outstanding.
And the trio stuff is progressing, it sounds like.
It is.
It
It's
is.
just a lot of halves and halves. Half lives in QuickBooks,
Yeah.
and it has to
Yeah.
be carried over the appropriate way, and there's a lot of checks. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure everything balances right from the get-go before
Right.
we continue.
Right,
So
yeah, no,
it's
that's
just a lot of
that's
checking.
got to be difficult, yeah.
A lot of checking. So.
Yeah. Okay, good. And that's another snafu for the auditors too, because they're gonna have half a year in QuickBooks and half a year in Trio for this year. But then we still have 3 years that we're waiting for, so that doesn't even come into play yet.
Alrighty. We've approved the minutes and notes from last week and this week's agenda. Paid some bills that were due this week and signed off for some bills that will be paid next week. Ads in the paper. Is the snow plowing contract, that good for 2 weeks or just one?
4 weeks.
Huh?
Planned for 4 weeks.
4 weeks, okay.
Starting this week, I gather?
No, when in last
No.
week?
Oh,
Last week.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing it. But then I miss a lot of things in the shopping guide.
CEO report, we're waiting for last month's report. We received the sheriff's report for March. Animal control wants to meet with the selectmen next week. Deb? To go over some, I guess, about attending a conference for her assistant.
I think that will have come and gone, right? Isn't it this week? So we'll just be talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But we voted not to pay for the assistant last week, at last week's meeting. So I'm sure she'd like some clarification on that. Planning board, April 19th is the next meeting. And nothing going on with the appeals board, which is good. Comprehensive committee, Abby's busily working on that. Next meeting is April 25th at 6 o'clock. We've had no rulings on the cases involving the Stanley Building or Robinson Mill.
Which is no longer our.
Well, right. It's been transitioned or
Right.
transferred or something.
Well, it is in transition.
In transit.
We are still the responsible party.
Right. But according to I don't know, somebody, they're prioritizing on criminal cases because they got so far behind, and civil cases are just falling behind. We had some questions on bulky goods, white goods, tires. And it looks like, and this will certainly be publicized, so you don't really have to write anything down. June 10th for bulky waste, June 24th for white goods, and maybe the 14th of October for the tire pickup. Those are our 3 regular pickups. As you know, we have arranged for hazardous goods, electronics, and that type of thing. So this gives you a little idea of when they're going to be picked up, at least the initial plans. We have the year-round maintenance on Province Lake Road, 153. It's about 1.8 miles. We've been talking about this. We really didn't feel it was our road, but Maine and New Hampshire both say it's our road. So we'll be paying extra for the snow plowing of 1.8 miles. That will be paid to New Hampshire. They'll be sending us a bill. We did have a nice letter from John Lesko referring to the ARPA proposal for solar. He had come up with some ideas on trying to use this ARPA money. And I guess we'll put these ideas with the other ideas of, you know, the town hall, the old town hall, fixing that up, the parking lot, which got shot down, so to speak. We'll have about a half a dozen of these ideas, additional ideas. We'll send them to MMA to see the validity of them, as whether they qualify for the ARPA funds, and then move on from there. We've committed, probably as I mentioned before, about, well, if I could get to it, the right folder, folks, it'd be really exciting. So we have approval to spend about $108,000. So that means there's another 100,000 that could be spent, and we're just looking at the best way to do that. We have a spring newsletter from Southern Maine Planning and Development, which we use quite a bit. I know Harvard uses a lot in a comprehensive plan. We use it when we buy our salt. We get a great deal with about a dozen other towns. Nothing from the road commissioners. He was here last week giving us some input on the snow plowing contract as to what he'd like to see, as was Darren and Danielle. So between them, I think we have a good idea of where the contract is and what we think it should look like. The contract really is only as good as the people that are participating in it. really doesn't matter sometimes what's written down. If it's not adhered to, it's not adhered to. Updates. Jesse, anything? Siding guy?
He says he's still on board for the same price that he quoted for. I asked for a time frame and I didn't get a response.
Well, that's part of the ARPA funds, folks.
That's an update on that, which is more of an update than I thought I'd get, but
He responded quickly. Dave, you got any?
Of course.
Of course.
All right.
Why do I ask?
First off, we are presenting the Boston Post Cane on Sunday to Marilyn Lord, 2 o'clock at her house. We hope to have the plow contracts and all the attachments available tomorrow. Apologize they aren't available today. We have a new generator, which means we also now have an old generator. We have a 5 kilowatt generator that we can probably think about selling, I would guess.
Manual start, electric start?
Yeah, no, manual start.
model, make, I should say.
Generac?
I don't recall. No, it's not Generac. I don't recall. I'll get that information. We can talk about it more next week. I
Yeah,
just
like
I was out in.
5,500,
It's a 5 kilowatt.
5 gallons.
Yeah. I think it has its surge is 5,500, but
Okay.
continuous is 5,000. I was out in the boiler room because we didn't have heat this morning, or yesterday morning. The pump on the boiler, on the burner, gave out again. This is at least the 3rd time. So we have a very unique burner on that furnace, and so he's going to check and see if there's a different manufacturer for a pump replacement if and when it goes again. Anyways, it was kind of interesting because we had shut the ventilators off because they were blowing cold air, and I left the boiler door room unlocked, and I didn't even know he had been here to do the repair. So I called down to J.P. Carroll and said, oh, he was there, he replaced the pump. Okay, please have him check in when he comes next time, or I'll just leave the boiler room door locked. Whatever. So anyways, turned the ventilators back on and we were fat, dumb, and happy. 2 things that I haven't done yet that are on my list: the batteries for the defibrillator and the power supply for our heat controller. I'll get to those hopefully before next meeting. And I believe that's it.
Okay, and when we get the batteries, we'll talk to Rescue and try and schedule a CPR defibrillator usage type class for the people in the office.
Okay, good.
So
There is a cost for that now.
they didn't charge us much last time.
No, I know, but it's $500.
What?
12 people, it's 500. He talked also about maybe doing a CPR public training, but it'd be like $30 per person to come in and pay.
Well, when the time comes, we'll have to talk about that.
So $30 a person for 12.
No,
No,
I
no.
think that's public.
Yeah,
It's
I understand.
512.
But if we just told them we want a public class, 12 people at $30 each is $360.
It's probably like a standard rate, you know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah.
probably the 500
The
meets the
flat
standard rate.
municipal rate.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. We just pay their bills. Oh well.
I talked to Maya, and he's thinking about pulling the signs on the roads Friday if it continues to be nice and warm, which I think is supposed to be the same.
Yeah.
Posted roads.
We're getting a lot of calls for deliveries and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't much frost this year, and
Yeah.
it's been such a slow melt. Everything's kind of dried
Yeah,
up.
it's typically the first week in May, so this is early. We
And
have
we've
late-
had no rain for 3
Yeah.
weeks,
Yeah.
which is helpful.
Yeah.
And the Spirit of America Award, I think we'll be discussing that next week and
Full of
coming up
spirit.
with-
We'll be full of spirit.
Speak for yourself. Oh.
All right. That's about it. Harvey, do you have anything?
Yeah, one, the batteries, Dave, I had replaced those about 2 years ago.
Yeah?
The 10-year warranty battery. Might want to check on those extra heavy-duty batteries.
Okay. Do you have any kind of paperwork that you left on that?
No, the paperwork,
Do you know where you bought them?
yeah, I bought them and then gave the bill to, yeah.
Okay.
So they should be new, but I don't know how you test them. You'd have to test them, make sure.
Well, it's got an indicator on it, the
I
defib.
checked that out because those are supposed to be in storage for the last 10 years.
Okay.
And that's not used, so I would imagine that it should be okay.
Yeah, minimal drainage on them. Yep.
Yeah. The other thing is I did a little walkabout down on the box shop and somebody had removed the trailer. I want to commend them for taking care of that. That camper that was in there and way down and back by the river was removed and cleaned up and taken out, and I didn't see any track or anything, so.
Good.
More power to us, I guess. I don't know. You know, probably somebody down on the box shop.
Mhm.
Camper.
Mm,
Want to thank them for that.
I'm guessing someone might have taken it for scrap metal,
Yeah. Probably.
which is great.
That it, Harv?
Yeah, as long as Jen was here and she got her say in.
Yeah.
How's that, thanks?
We'll have to, the luncheons are so popular, we'll have to sell tickets.
Last time I called in to make my reservation, she said, you just made it in time. If you had called a little later, you wouldn't. So, call early, I guess, is a lot of.
Yep. Okay, folks.
Can we just reiterate that town office is closed on Monday, the 17th, for Patriots Day? Everybody go run a marathon. Or not.
Or not, it's probably more appropriate.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, folks. Danielle, thank you.
Thank you.